First of all, thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. And it's a pleasure being here among such esteemed fellow speakers. I'm going to talk about the Cloud Data Management Capabilities Framework. Before I start, I just wanted to kind of get an understanding about if anybody has an understanding about CDMC or has heard about it before. Can I just have a show of hand for anybody who's heard of it before? Okay, so then this session makes sense because I would have that opportunity, and hopefully by the end of this session, you would have an understanding about what all CDMC is about and the effort that we are undertaking for AI analytics and data controls as well. Moving further. So when we talk about London Stock Exchange, right, the first thing that comes to mind is it's a stock exchange. But we are a data company as well. We in fact provide a broad range of international equity, fixed income, exchange traded funds, investment vehicles, and foreign exchange markets. And our data and analytics arm is one of the largest provider of financial markets data and infrastructure. So for us being a data provider, and I'm sure with a lot of you who are in the business of providing data, it is very important that the information that we provide is accurate, timely, trusted, and protected, and it is used in an efficient, effective manner and in an ethical way, right? So we have been looking at and hearing a lot of panelists talk about data security, how for them data is so important, why people are scared of using data with sensitive data with AI models, why people are scared of migrating sensitive data to cloud. So with all this in mind, a lot of around 300 SMEs from financial services like LSEG, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Citibank, HSBC, a lot of this financial services firms, technology providers like Collibra, Snowflake, Informatica, Big ID, Solidatus, and 4 largest cloud service providers, AWS, Azure, Google, and IBM. So all these different people came together to create this cloud data management capability framework. And what this ensures is, how can the organizations better manage data in cloud? How can the sensitive data be protected in the cloud? And how can you leverage or realize the benefits that the cloud has to provide? And for the data consumers, how can they effectively trust the data that is being provided? So this effort took around 16 months, and then it was released as part of an open source effort. And now what we have is, we do have a lot of this controls being adopted by a lot of different firms. So for instance, we do have, the data that is being provided by, for instance, you have heard about Microsoft data governance tool, right? So they have built upon the CDMC controls. Even Google Cloud have in their Big ID tool, they have kind of built upon the CDMC controls. So we have had a lot of companies coming together and building upon these controls. Even Google Cloud is, AWS is now certified against this CDMC controls. And as you could see, EDM Council has also partnered to make sure that this effort is being carried on, and there are training courses and certifications and assessments available for partners who want to get certified for CDMC. Now, what exactly is CDMC? So it's a little busy slide over here, but if I have to see, it is about the 14 controls that have been put into place so that you are assured that the data that is following all these data sets that are following all these different controls is trusted, and the consumers can have confidence of moving the sensitive data to the cloud. So as a broad category, you have 6 categories, and which are then divided into subcategories, or there are controls associated with each of these categories. So if you look at the first category, there is governance and accountability. The control 1 to 4, they fall within this governance and accountability category. Now, before even I go to these controls, right, let me take some challenges which the organizations are facing today. For instance, you have different regulations on data protection, GDPR, DPDP, a gentleman mentioned earlier. So how do you make sure that, and because of that, what is happening is the organizations are maintaining their data in silos and it's not being effectively used, or there's no transparency. So what these controls do is they give you an effective way to manage data across these various, ever-changing regulatory requirements. The other challenge really is that the organizations, especially for the sensitive data, they do not have the confidence to move to the cloud, especially when looking at the security aspect of it. And the third really, which I can take, is there's no common language for discussing the requirements for cloud data management. So these controls are put into place so that you have a way to removing the systematic risk associated with all these different challenges. Now let's look at control first. It says a data control compliance metric. Now, this is mostly a summary of all the different controls in place. So when you have a metrics which gives you an understanding about that everything else is in place. So this particular control came into place from the auditors. In fact, the auditors wanted a way that they can look at one metric and understand if everything else is in place, and it becomes easier for them. The second control is about data ownership. Very self-explanatory, where every data asset should have a data owner, and data owner should be responsible for the data quality. The third is about the data owners declaring the authoritative sources and the authoritative redistribution of the data, as well as they should be able to guide on authorized provision points for the data to be used. So for instance, if you are getting data from, say, a third-party contributor, you're using it in your platform, you need to make sure that you are an authorized redistributor of the data, and then that data can then be used within your user base or within the products. The fourth control is about data sovereignty and cross-border movement controls, wherein a lot of you have seen that there is a lot of restrictions on data that can be, it can't move out of certain regions. It needs to be there are a lot of data residency rules. You cannot have data within certain locations. You cannot move data out of certain locations. So if you are tagging your data with this control, the cloud platform would have an understanding about the data sovereignty and the cross-border movement restrictions, and they will make sure that when they are redeploying the data or when caching happens, those restrictions are managed. Because nowadays we want to cache everywhere in the world, right? But because of these restrictions, it cannot be done so. The fifth is about cataloging, where any data that is generated is automatically cataloged. And so for instance, if Megavii is creating certain GB of data, it goes into the catalog saying that Megavii has created this many GB of data using this service. Classification, where you are classifying whether a data is sensitive or not. That would help both the privacy teams as well as the regulators. Entitlements, where you are mentioning entitlements for the data and also tracking the access so that only entitled users get access to the data. Data consumption. So, as you would have seen, a lot of the data sharing and data rights management agreements are there for a lot of the data that is that is being sourced. So, when you have a data consumption purpose set for the data set, it is easier for the privacy teams to understand the risk and understand what is the purpose the data is being used for. Security controls. Data encryption. You should be encrypting your data in rest, in use, in transit. Even now, people have started looking at data encryption when running. So, for instance, if you when you're running the systems, how do you make sure that the data is encrypted? Data privacy impact assessments, where you look at for, especially if your data has PII or personally identifiable information, how do you make sure that the data privacy impact assessments are run on those data, and the privacy team is able to understand the risk associated with the data. The 11th control is about data quality metrics and understanding if a particular data is fit for consumption, and also for data owners to understand if the quality is not good and they need to fix the quality of the data. Data retention. There's, as I think in the earlier panel, they were talking about retaining treasury data for 7 years. So similarly, there's a lot of those data retention rules associated with every data set. So this is about, tagging the data based on the data retention, and also looking at it when, say, for instance, if your data is being replicated, how do you make sure that the data retention restrictions are in place? Data lineage, where you are proving that the data lineage as well as the provenance of the data, especially when it's used in critical consumption, is provable, and it can be linked back to the authoritative sources. And last but not the least is the cost metrics. So we talked a lot about cost management and how do you understand cost for your cloud usage, right? And data is one of the most important part of it, where you're looking at storage. So how from a FinOps dashboard, you would have seen a lot of those cloud usage metrics. So how does that flow over to your catalog as well? And the data owners are able to understand the cost associated with the data. So this is about the CDMC controls. I don't expect everybody to kind of understand this in the first go, because it's a really busy slide. But if you look here, it is giving an understanding of, for each of those roles, whether it's be chief data officer, chief risk officer, a CTO, architect, head of analytics, what does all these different controls mean, and what is the priority related to each of the roles? So if you are looking at a particular role, you should be able to map which control is prioritized for you, looking at this table. Now, building on when the CDMC was controls were built, purposely the AI and analytics part of it was not taken into consideration, because everybody wanted to focus just on data. But now we extending it to include AI analytics controls as well. And here again, as you can see, we have a lot of different partners: LSEG, Morgan Stanley, Barclays, Deutsche Bank, NASDAQ, everybody coming together to define this AI analytics controls. And again, we have for the AI and analytics controls, we are looking at the NIST AI risk management framework, because AI risk management is one of the top priority for all the financial firms, right? So we're looking at the NIST AI risk management framework and data ethics and practice framework. So all of these different controls from this frameworks is being carried over to the ADAC, or AI data and analytics controls. Due to positive time, I would not go into a lot of detail through this, but we, for instance, at the bottom, you can see the CDMC controls squished, and then you have the data and analytics controls built on top of it. So a lot of it is common between them. For instance, the ownership, if you look at it, when we talk about ownership, now the data ownership is extended to ownership of model and any analytics assets. And then you have on top of it, you have those 5 controls, which are newer controls and very specific to analytics. So let me take one of it right now. If I look at the most important one that all of us are looking at, ethics, right? We are worried about how we are using the models. For instance, apart from, say, a particular data set being used for used with a particular model, we also want to understand what is the outcome from the system and whether the outcome is what it was intended to be. Right? So we want to see that there's no model drift, there's no data drift. Your system is able to monitor the performance and able to do so in a consistent way. Right? So a lot of work has been done to include those ethical controls within ADAC. And similarly, you have the risk metrics in place, the lineage transparency for the analytics asset. So if you look at the catalog for, say, analytics, right? Ideally, you would want your data, models, any projects using those models, any report generated out of the use of the models and the data set together, all to be part of your catalog, so that you are able to understand the risk associated from your classification engine, right? So this is a little bit about the ADAC controls. Sorry, I couldn't go into the detail for it as I'm running out of time. But anybody who is, and the work on ADAC is going on right now. So we have a working group created with SMEs from all the different organizations that I talked about earlier. And we meet every Monday to look at how do we build upon this ADAC controls so that it can then be made a standard, like we have done it for CDMC, where, all the different cloud providers are now using CDMC as a golden standard. So similarly, we want to do the same for ADAC. And if you feel that you want to contribute towards this effort, please reach out to me, and I can get you added to the working group for the AI analytics controls. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.